Just imagine. It's a blistering Saturday afternoon in July, the kind of day where the air feels like a dragon's breath and the asphalt could fry an egg. My backyard pool is the only oasis in this suburban hellscape, and I'm hosting a little hangout with my buddies. Picture this, a dozen grown adults, all FBI agents, splashing around like kids, sipping iced beers, and blasting classic rock from a Bluetooth speaker that's seen better days. The vibe is perfect until Karen, my neighbor with a clipboard fetish and a vendetta against fun, decides to call 911. Oh, Karen, sweet Karen. You have no idea who you're messing with. I'm Jake, 38, a senior FBI agent who's spent the last decade chasing white-collar criminals and untangling money laundering schemes. My job is a pressure cooker, so my backyard pool parties are sacred. They're my chance to unwind with my crew, guys and gals I've trusted with my life in raids and sting operations. We're not just colleagues, we're family. There's Sarah, our sharpshooter with a laugh like a foghorn. Mike, who can hack a server faster than you can say password. And Lisa, our undercover queen who once posed as a mob wife for 6 months without breaking a sweat. Today, we're off duty, tossing a beach ball and debating whether Led Zeppelin or the Rolling Stones reigns supreme. My house sits in a quiet cul-de-sac in a planned community called Sunny Hills, where the lawns are manicured to perfection and the HOA rules read like a dystopian novel. I bought this place 5 years ago, mostly for the pool and the privacy fence I built to keep nosy neighbors at bay. The fence is 6 feet of cedar, sturdy enough to block out the world, or so I thought. Enter Karen, the self-appointed guardian of Sunny Hills community standards. She's the kind of woman who measures your grass with a ruler and leaves passive-aggressive notes about your mailbox being non-compliant. Her house, right next to mine, is a shrine to beige. Beige siding, beige curtains, beige soul. The trouble starts around 3 p.m. I'm lounging on a floatie, a cold IPA in hand, when I notice a shadow flickering behind my fence. It's subtle, like a shark fin cutting through water. I squint, thinking maybe it's a trick of the light, but then I hear it, the unmistakable click of a phone camera. Sarah, sprawled on a deck chair with sunglasses perched on her nose, catches my eye. "You see that?" she mutters, her voice low, like we're staking out a suspect. I nod, but I'm not worried yet. It's probably just Karen, snooping as usual. She's been on my case since I moved in, whining about my excessive outdoor lights or the time I parked my truck half an inch over her property line. "Jake, your neighbor's got issues," Mike says, dunking a basketball into the pool hoop. She's been pacing her porch for an hour, clutching that notebook like it's the nuclear codes. We all laugh, because Mike's not wrong. Karen's notebook is legendary. Rumor has it she logs every infraction in the neighborhood. Kids riding bikes too fast, dogs barking after 9 p.m., or, God forbid, someone's trash can linger in curbside past pickup day. I've seen her scribbling furiously while glaring at my tiki torches like they personally offended her. I shrug it off and crank up the music. Sweet Home Alabama blares, and Lisa starts a splash war that sends half the pool water flying. We're loud, sure, but it's my property, my day off, and I'm not hurting anyone. The sun's dipping low, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, and the smell of grilled burgers wafts from the barbecue. It's paradise. Then, like a storm cloud rolling in, I hear the screech of Karen's screen door. She steps onto her porch, phone in one hand, notebook in the other, her lips pursed so tight they could crack walnuts. "Jake," she shrieks, her voice cutting through the music like a knife. "Turn that racket down. This is a respectable neighborhood." I paddle to the edge of the pool, dripping wet, and flash her my best disarming smile. "Karen, it's Saturday. We're just having some fun. Why don't you join us? Got plenty of burgers." The crew snickers behind me, and Karen's face turns the color of a ripe tomato. "I will not be mocked," she snaps, stomping back inside. I roll my eyes and dive back into the pool, figuring that's the end of it. Spoiler alert, it's not. About 20 minutes later, as I'm flipping burgers on the grill, I notice a new sound, sirens. Not close, but getting closer. Sarah sits up, her sunglasses sliding down her nose. "You hear that?" she asks, her tone shifting from relaxed to alert. Mike, who's been tossing a frisbee with Lisa, freezes. No way, he says, glancing at me. She didn't. But I know she did. Karen, in all her clipboard-wielding glory, has called the cops on us. I can practically see her smug grin through the fence. The sirens grow louder, and my crew exchanges looks. We're not your average backyard partiers. Every single one of us carries a badge, and we've dealt with worse than a nosy neighbor with a power complex. But there's something about Karen's audacity that sparks a fire in me. She thinks she can ruin my day. Oh, honey, you just poked a hornet's nest. I wipe my hands on a towel, grab another beer, and tell the gang to keep the party going. Let's see how this plays out, I say, a grin spreading across my face. Karen's about to learn that you don't mess with a yard full of feds. The police cruiser pulls up, its lights flashing like a cheap disco. 2 officers step out, looking as thrilled to be here as I am to see them. I recognize one of them, Officer Daniels, a guy I've met at a couple of community events. He's solid, but his partner, a rookie with a buzz cut and a nervous twitch, looks like he's expecting a shootout. I stroll to the gate, casual as can be, and lean against it. Evening, officers, I say, tipping my beer bottle. What brings you to my little slice of paradise? Daniels sighs, pinching the bridge of his nose. Got a call about a noise complaint. Something about a rowdy party disturbing the peace. Behind me, Sarah lets out a bark of laughter, and Mike mutters, disturbing her peace, more like. I keep my cool, though? Noise complaint, huh? Well, let's talk this out. You want a burger while we're at it? The rookie blinks, clearly thrown, but Daniels just shakes his head. Jake, you know how this goes. We gotta check it out. Who's the complainant? I don't need to answer. Karen's already marching across her lawn, her flip-flops slapping the grass like she's leading a one-woman parade. Officers, she calls, waving her notebook like a battle flag. This man is disrupting the entire neighborhood. Loud music, drunken behavior, and I'm pretty sure they're trespassing on my property. That last bit makes my eyebrows shoot up. Trespassing? Really, Karen? I glance at my fence, which is very much on my side of the property line, and feel a dark chuckle bubbling up. Ma'am, Daniel says, his voice flat. Let's start with the noise. Can you describe the issue? Karen launches into a tirade, her words spilling out like she's been rehearsing this moment her whole life. She's got dates, times, decibel levels. Hell, I'm half convinced she's got a seismograph in her garage. My crew, meanwhile, is watching from the pool, barely containing their amusement. Lisa whispers something to Mike, and he snorts so loud it echoes. Karen's head snaps toward them, her eyes narrowing like a hawk spotting prey. I decide to let her dig her own grave. Karen, I say, all sweetness and light. Why don't you show the officers where we're supposedly trespassing? She hesitates, her grip tightening on her notebook, but she's too far gone to back down. She points at a patch of dirt near my fence, claiming our rowdy splashing somehow damaged her precious petunias. I can't help it, I laugh. Out loud. The kind of laugh that makes Daniels raise an eyebrow and the rookie take a step back. Karen, I say, wiping a tear from my eye, my pool's 10 feet from the fence. Unless we've got Olympic-level splashers here, I think your flowers are safe. Daniel smirks, but Karen's not having it. She jabs a finger at me, her voice hitting a pitch that could shatter glass. You think you're above the rules, Jake? I've got evidence. Photos. Videos. You're done. That's when I notice her phone, still in her hand, and a little light bulb goes off in my head. Evidence, huh? Oh. Karen, you're about to make this way too easy. The officers asked to see her evidence, and she proudly hands over her phone, scrolling through blurry photos of my fence and a shaky video of us laughing by the pool. Daniels watches politely, but I can tell he's already checked out. The rookie, though, looks like he's trying to solve a murder case. Ma'am, Daniels finally says, this doesn't show any trespassing. And the noise? Well, it's 4 p.m. on a Saturday. Unless they're running a rock concert, it's not exactly a crime. Karen's face twists like she just bit into a lemon. This is outrageous, she shrieks. I demand you shut this party down. I'm calling your supervisor. Daniel sighs again, deeper this time, and I almost feel bad for him. Almost. Because right now, I'm more focused on the fact that Karen just escalated this from a petty complaint to a full-blown war. And if there's one thing FBI agents know how to do, it's win a war. As the officers try to calm her down, I glance back at my crew. Sarah's got that glint in her eye, the one she gets before she takes down a suspect. Mike's already pulling out his phone, probably running a quick background check on Karen for kicks. And Lisa? She's just grinning, like she's already plotting something diabolical. I take a sip of my beer, feeling the tension coil in my gut. Karen thinks she's got the upper hand, but she's about to find out what happens when you mess with a yard full of feds. Game on. The sun's dipping lower now, casting long shadows across my backyard as the police cruiser's lights still pulse lazily against my fence. Karen's still yammering at Officer Daniels, her voice like a chainsaw through the evening calm, waving her phone like it's a magic wand that'll make us all disappear. I'm leaning against the gate, beer in hand, watching her performance with a mix of amusement and irritation. My crew's back in the pool, pretending to ignore the drama, but I catch Sarah's sharp glance. She's profiling Karen like she's a suspect in a bank heist. This isn't just a noise complaint anymore. Karen's turning it into a spectacle, and I'm starting to wonder just how far she's willing to go. Daniels, bless his patient soul, is trying to wrap things up. "Ma'am," he says, his voice as flat as the asphalt. "We've seen your evidence. There's no trespassing, and the noise isn't excessive. Maybe you can work this out with your neighbor?" He shoots me a look that says, "Help me out here, Jake." I give him a shrug, because I'm not the one who called 911 over a pool party. Karen, though, takes his suggestion like a personal insult. "Work it out," she snaps, clutching her notebook so tight I'm surprised it doesn't combust. This man is a menace. He's lowering property values with his debauchery. That gets a laugh from Mike, who's floating on a giant inflatable donut, his sunglasses reflecting the dying sunlight. "Debauchery," he calls out. "Lady, it's burgers and beer, not a Roman orgy." Lisa snorts, nearly choking on her drink, and even the rookie cop cracks a smile. Karen's face goes from tomato red to nuclear meltdown. "You see?" she shrieks, pointing at Mike. "They're mocking me. I want them arrested." The rookie looks at Daniels, clearly out of his depth, while I raise an eyebrow. "Arrested? For splashing in classic rock?" Karen's lost the plot. I decide it's time to step in before she starts demanding a SWAT team. "Karen," I say, keeping my tone calm, but laced with just enough sarcasm to sting. "If you've got a problem with my property values, maybe take it up with the HOA. "Oh, wait, you are the HOA. "That's right. Karen's not just a nosy neighbor. She's the president of the Sunny Hills Homeowners Association, a title she wields like a dictator with a gavel. She's been fleecing the neighborhood with fines for years, and I've got a file cabinet full of her ridiculous citations. $50 for a non-approved mailbox color, $25 for a basketball hoop, visible from the street. It's a racket, and I'm not the only one who's sick of it." Daniels, sensing the tension, tries to de-escalate. "Let's all take a breath," he says. "Jake, maybe turn the music down a notch? And ma'am, unless there's an actual crime, we're done here." Karen's not having it. She stomps her foot, actually stomps it like a toddler, and declares, "This isn't over. I'm filing a formal complaint with the city." With that, she spins on her flip-flops and marches back to her beige kingdom, leaving Daniels shaking his head. The rookie mutters something about paperwork, and they head back to their cruiser. I wave them off, but my gut's telling me Karen's not done. Not by a long shot. Back at the pool, the mood's shifted. The music's still playing, quieter now, because I'm not an idiot, but my crew's on edge. Sarah slides off her chair and sidles up to me, her voice low. "She's unhinged, Jake. You sure you want to let this slide?" I glance at Karen's house, where I can see her silhouette pacing behind her curtains. "Not letting it slide," I say, cracking a grin. "Just picking my moment." Sarah nods, her eyes glinting. She knows me well enough to know I don't back down from a fight, especially not when I've got a yard full of feds ready to back me up. That's when Mike calls me over. He's sprawled on a lounge chair, his phone glowing in the dusk. "Check this out," he says, tilting the screen toward me. He's pulled up Karen's social media, because of course he has. Mike's the guy who once hacked a cartel's encrypted messaging system in under an hour, so digging up dirt on a suburban Karen is child's play. Her profile is a goldmine of petty rants, posts about irresponsible neighbors, complaints about unruly gatherings, and, my personal favorite, a photo of my fence with the caption, "This eyesore is ruining our community." Posted 2 days ago. The audacity. Scroll down. Mike says, smirking. I do, and my jaw drops. Karen's been posting about me for months. There's a grainy photo of my truck parked slightly crooked, a rant about my unauthorized tiki torches, even a complaint about the smell of my barbecue. She's obsessed, Lisa says, peering over my shoulder. This isn't just HOA nonsense. She's got a personal vendetta. I feel a chill that has nothing to do with the evening breeze. Karen's not just annoying, she's targeting me. And I'm starting to wonder why. I tell the crew to keep the party going, but I slip inside to my home office, where I keep my work files. If Karen wants to play dirty, I've got resources she can't even dream of. I fire up my laptop and start digging. First, I pull up the HOA bylaws, 50 pages of mind-numbing legalese that I've skimmed before but never really studied. Sure enough, there's a clause about excessive noise, but it's vague, and my party's nowhere near the decibel limit. There's also a section on property disputes, which gives me an idea. Karen's claiming we're trespassing? Maybe it's time to check the property lines. I call up my buddy Tom, a surveyor I worked with on a case last year. He's not FBI, but he's got a knack for finding discrepancies in land records. Tom, I say when he picks up, you got time to look at some property maps for me? He laughs, because he knows I only call when there's trouble. What's the deal, Jake? Mob boss stealing your backyard. I chuckle. Worse. HOA Karen. He groans, but agrees to pull the records first thing tomorrow. I hang up, feeling a spark of anticipation. If Karen's lying about the property line, I've got her. Back outside, the party's still alive, but the vibe's different. My crew's joking and splashing, but I can tell they're watching Karen's house now, like hawks circling prey. Sarah's got her phone out, probably texting her contacts at the precinct to see if Karen's filed any other complaints. Mike's muttering about hacking her Ring camera, mostly joking, but with Mike, you never know. Lisa's the one who worries me, though. She's got that look, the one she had before she took down a crooked casino boss by pretending to be his accountant. What's the plan, Jake? She asks, her voice casual but her eyes sharp. Plan, I say, leaning back in my chair with a grin. We let Karen think she's won. For now, I take a long sip of my beer, watching the last rays of sunlight glint off the pool. Karen's got her notebook, her phone, and her 911 speed dial. But I've got something better, a team of FBI agents who don't take kindly to being messed with. And if she thinks this is over, she's about to get a masterclass in underestimating your opponent. As the night settles in, the air grows cooler, and the cicadas start their chorus. I hear Karen's screen door creak again, and I catch a glimpse of her standing on her porch, staring at us. She's probably plotting her next move, scribbling in that damn notebook. But I'm plotting too. And unlike Karen, I know how to play the long game. I raise my beer bottle in her direction, a silent toast. Bring it on, Karen. This pool party's about to get a whole lot more interesting. The next morning, I'm up before the sun, nursing a coffee strong enough to wake a coma patient. My backyard's a mess. Empty beer bottles, soggy towels, and a deflated flamingo floatie that looks like it lost a fight with a lawnmower. Last night's party was a blast, but Karen's 911 stunt has left a sour taste. My crew's already texting in our group chat, throwing around ideas from petty pranks to full-on psychological warfare. Sarah wants to send Karen a cease and desist letter just for fun. Mike's still joking about hacking her Ring camera, though I'm pretty sure he's already checked its IP address. Lisa's ominously silent, which is never a good sign. But I'm not ready to go nuclear, yet. First, I need to know what I'm dealing with. I'm at my kitchen table, laptop open, digging into Karen's HOA reign of terror. Sunny Hill's online forum is a cesspool of complaints about her. Fines for kids' chalk drawings, threats to tow cars parked improperly. Even a rumor she tried to ban Halloween decorations for being tacky. The woman's not just a nuisance. She's a suburban tyrant. I'm scrolling through her latest tirade about neighborhood aesthetics when Tom, my surveyor buddy, texts me. Got the property maps, he writes. Your fence is 100% on your land. Karen's petunias? Planted 6 inches over the line. She's the trespasser. I nearly spit out my coffee. Oh, this is too good. Armed with this, I call a quick meeting with the crew. Sarah and Mike show up at my place by 9 a.m. Sarah with a tray of donuts and Mike with his laptop, which I'm pretty sure is more powerful than NASA's servers. Lisa's on video call, lounging in her apartment with a smoothie and that same dangerous glint in her eye. So, I say, sliding Tom's property map across the table, Karen's been lying about the property line. Her precious flowers are on my land. Sarah lets out a low whistle. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen, she says, smirking. Mike's already typing, pulling up county records to confirm Tom's findings. Yup, he says after a minute. She's been planting on your side for years. Probably banking on you not noticing. I lean back, feeling the gears turning. This isn't just about a noise complaint anymore. It's personal. Karen's been building her little empire on lies, and I'm not about to let her keep it. But before I can start plotting, my phone buzzes with a new email from the HOA. It's a formal notice, signed by Karen herself, accusing me of violating community standards with my disruptive gathering and demanding a $500 fine. Attached is a photo of my pool party, clearly taken from her side of the fence, showing Mike dunking the basketball and Lisa mid-laugh. The timestamp? 3:47 p.m. yesterday, right before she called the cops. She's not just petty, she's methodical. She's got a spy complex, Lisa says over the call, her voice dripping with disdain. Who takes time-stamped photos of a pool party? This woman needs a hobby. Sarah snorts, grabbing a donut. Or a therapist. I'm not laughing, though. That photo means Karen's been watching us for hours, maybe days. I glance out my kitchen window, half expecting to see her lurking with binoculars. Sure enough, her curtains twitch. Subtle, Karen. Real subtle. I decide it's time to pay her a visit. Not to confront her, yet, but to gauge how far she's willing to take this. I stroll across the lawn, Tom's property map tucked under my arm, and knock on her door. The beige fortress opens a crack, and there she is, her eyes narrowing like I'm a door-to-door salesman peddling chaos. What do you want, Jake? She snaps, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. I flash my best neighborly smile. Just thought we could clear the air, Karen. Seems like there's been a misunderstanding about the property line. I unfold the map, pointing to the boundary. Looks like your petunias are on my side. No big deal, but maybe we should fix that before it's an issue. Her face goes from smug to sour in half a second. That's absurd, she hisses, snatching the map from my hand. This is fake. I've lived here for 15 years. I shrug, keeping my tone light. County records don't lie, Karen. But hey, I'm sure we can double-check it. She slams the door so hard the porch light rattles. I walk back to my house, feeling her glare burning a hole in my back. Round 1, Jake. Back inside, Mike's got news. He's been poking around the HOA's financials, public records, nothing too shady, and found something juicy. Karen's been skimming, he says, spinning his laptop toward me. The HOA's budget shows thousands in miscellaneous fees, with no receipts, funneled into an account linked to her name. It's not enough to call the feds. Ironic, since we are the feds, but it's enough to make me wonder what else she's hiding. We need more, I say, my mind racing. Bank statements, emails, anything that proves she's dirty. Mike grins like a kid on Christmas. Gimme a day. That afternoon, things escalate. I'm cleaning the pool when a tow truck rolls up, its driver eyeing my truck parked in my own driveway. I jog over, already smelling Karen's handiwork. What's this about? I ask. The driver, a burly guy with a sunburned neck, checks his clipboard. Got a call about an illegally parked vehicle. HOA rules, man. I laugh, because this is next-level petty. It's my driveway, I say, pointing to the clearly marked lines. He shrugs, clearly not paid enough to care. Lady said it's blocking her access. I just follow orders. I talk him down, showing him the property map, and he drives off, muttering about crazy neighbors. I'm fuming now, but I keep it together. Karen's not just annoying, she's weaponizing the system. I call Sarah, who's got a friend in the city's code enforcement office. Can you check if Karen's filed any complaints against me? I ask. She calls back an hour later, her voice tight. She's filed 3 in the past month. Noise, parking, and, get this, unsightly landscaping. Says your palm tree is a visual nuisance. I glance at my perfectly healthy palm tree, which has been here longer than Karen's petunias, and feel my blood pressure spike. She's building a case, Sarah adds. Probably wants to force you out. That's when Lisa chimes in on the group chat. Enough playing nice, she texts. Let's hit her where it hurts. She suggests we request a full HOA audit, which would force Karen to open her books. It's a bold move, but I'm not ready to go public yet. If we're doing this, we need hard evidence, something that'll make her sweat. I tell the crew to dig deeper. Sarah's on city records, Mike's on financials, and Lisa's, well, Lisa's doing whatever Lisa does when she gets that look. I don't ask. By evening, I'm back in my backyard, staring at the pool where this all started. The water's still, reflecting the stars, and for a moment, I almost forget about Karen. Then I hear it, the faint click of a camera shutter from her side of the fence. She's at it again, snapping photos like she's paparazzi, and I'm a B-list celebrity. I don't react, but inside, I'm grinning. Keep digging, Karen. Every photo, every complaint, every petty move is just another nail in your coffin. I head inside, lock the door, and pull out my own notebook, not as fancy as hers, but it's got something she doesn't, a plan. Tomorrow, we turn the tables. The morning air is thick with humidity, the kind that makes your shirt stick to your back before you've even finished your coffee. I'm on my porch, sipping my second cup, when I see Karen's minivan peel out of her driveway like she's auditioning for a Fast and Furious sequel. She's probably off to another HOA meeting, ready to terrorize some poor soul about their untrimmed hedges. But today, I'm not just sitting back. Today, we start fighting fire with fire, or, in Karen's case, fighting petunias with paperwork. My crew's already in motion. Sarah's at the county clerk's office, charming her way through stacks of public records to see if Karen's filed any other shady complaints. Mike's holed up in his apartment, his laptop humming like a jet engine as he digs into the HOA's financials. And Lisa? She texted me at 6 a.m. with a cryptic, got a lead. Meet me at noon. I don't know what she's up to, but Lisa's the kind of agent who can smell a lie from a mile away, so I trust her instincts. For now, I've got my own mission, rallying the neighbors. Sunny Hills isn't exactly a tight-knit community. Karen's made sure of that with her reign of terror, but I know a few folks who've had enough. There's Mrs. Patel, a sweet retiree who got fined for her grandson's tricycle cluttering the sidewalk. Then there's Carlos, a single dad who's been dodging Karen's parking citations for months. I figure if I can get them on board, we might have enough clout to force an HOA audit. I start with Mrs. Patel, knocking on her door with a box of donuts as a peace offering. She invites me in, her house smelling like fresh curry and jasmine. Jake, that woman's a nightmare, Mrs. Patel says, pouring me tea so strong it could strip paint. She threatened to sue me over my rose bushes. Said they were encroaching on the street. I show her Tom's property map, explaining how Karen's petunias are on my land, and her eyes light up. You're saying she's the one breaking the rules? She asks, a grin spreading across her face. Count me in. By the time I leave, she's promised to talk to her bridge club, 6 other retirees who've got their own Karen horror stories. One down. Carlos is next. He's in his garage, tinkering with a vintage motorcycle, when I roll up. Heard about your pool party drama, he says, wiping grease off his hands. Karen's got it out for you, man. I tell him about the property line and the HOA's shady finances, and he's all ears. She fined me $200 for parking my work van in my own driveway, he says, shaking his head. If you're taking her down, I'm in. What do you need? I ask him to sign a petition for an HOA audit, and he grabs a pen before I've even finished talking. 2 down. By noon, I'm at a coffee shop downtown, waiting for Lisa. She strolls in, looking like she just stepped out of a spy movie, sunglasses, leather jacket, and a smirk that says she's got something big. You're gonna love this, she says, sliding into the booth and tossing a folder on the table. Inside are printouts of emails, Karen's emails sent from her HOA account to a landscaping company. Their invoices for community beautification projects, but the addresses listed are her own backyard. She's been billing the HOA for her personal gardening, Lisa says, her voice dripping with disgust. Thousands of dollars, Jake. And the company? Owned by her cousin. I lean back, whistling low. This isn't just petty, it's fraud. How'd you get these? I ask, already knowing the answer. Lisa shrugs, sipping her latte. Let's just say I know a guy who knows a guy. Classic Lisa. I'm not about to question her methods. Not when she's handed me a smoking gun. We spend the next hour strategizing. An audit will expose Karen's scam, but we need more signatures to force the HOA board to act. And we need to be careful. Karen's got allies, like her buddy Dave, the HOA treasurer, who's probably in on the grift. Back home, I'm feeling like a general planning a siege. My phone buzzes with a text from Mike. Found more. Call me. I dial him up, and he's practically vibrating with excitement. Karen's been transferring HOA funds to an offshore account, he says. Small amounts, spread out over years, but it adds up. We're talking tens of thousands. I ask how he got this, and he laughs. Public records, mostly. Plus a little creative searching. I don't press him. Mike's methods are like Lisa's, effective and best left unquestioned. The day's going well, but Karen's not sitting idle. Around 3 p.m., I get a knock on my door. It's a city inspector, a nervous guy with a clipboard who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Got a complaint about your pool, he says, glancing at his notes. Something about unpermitted modifications. I laugh, because this is absurd. My pool's been here since I bought the house, fully permitted. I show him the paperwork, and he nods, clearly embarrassed. Sorry, man, he says. Had to check. The complainant was insistent. I don't need to ask who. Karen's escalating, throwing everything she's got at me. But every move she makes just gives me more ammo. That evening, I'm grilling steaks for dinner when Sarah calls. You're not gonna believe this, she says. Karen filed a noise complaint with the city and a restraining order against you. Claims you threatened her when you showed her the property map. I grip the tongs so hard my knuckles turn white. A restraining order? That's not just petty, it's a legal landmine. If she gets it, I could be barred from my own backyard. She's got no proof, Sarah adds, but she's pushing hard. Hearing's set for next week. I hang up, my mind racing. Karen's not just fighting dirty, she's fighting desperate. She knows I'm onto her, and she's trying to bury me in paperwork before I can bury her in evidence. I text the crew, telling them to double down. Sarah's pulling every complaint Karen's ever filed, looking for patterns. Mike's tracing the offshore account, hoping to link it to her cousin's company. And Lisa's already planning something she won't tell me about, which is both terrifying and reassuring. As the sun sets, I step into my backyard, the pool glowing under the moonlight. It's quiet now, no music, no splashing, just the hum of crickets and the distant bark of a dog. I glance at Karen's house, where her porch light is on, casting a harsh glow across her petunias. My petunias, technically. She thinks she's got me cornered, but she's about to learn a hard lesson. You don't play chess with a grandmaster and expect to win. I head inside, grab my laptop, and start drafting a petition for the HOA audit. Karen's built her castle on sand, and I'm about to bring the tide. The next day feels like the calm before a storm, the kind where the air's so heavy you can taste the electricity. I'm in my kitchen, surrounded by stacks of HOA bylaws, property maps, and Lisa's folder of incriminating emails. My coffee's gone cold, but my resolve is red hot. Karen's restraining order stunt has upped the ante, and I'm done playing nice. If she wants a war, I'll give her one, fought with signatures, evidence, and a healthy dose of sarcasm. My crew's ready, the neighbors are stirring, and Karen's about to find out what happens when you push a Fed too far. I start the morning by hitting the pavement, petition in hand. Mrs. Patel's Bridge Club is my first stop, a group of retirees who meet at her house to play cards and swap gossip. I walk in with a tray of bagels, because nothing says join my cause like carbs. The ladies are already buzzing about Karen's latest antics, and when I show them the property map and Lisa's emails, they're all in. She fined me for my bird feeder. One woman, Mrs. Chun grumbles, signing the petition with a flourish. Said it was attracting vermin. It's for hummingbirds. By the time I leave, I've got 6 signatures and a promise they'll spread the word. Next, I hit up Carlos's cul-de-sac, where a few other neighbors are mowing lawns or washing cars. I pitched the audit idea casually, like I'm just chatting about the weather, but the second I mention Karen's name, eyes roll and tongues loosen. She cited me for my kid's soccer net. One guy says, scribbling his name. Said it was an eyesore. It's in my backyard. By noon, I've got 15 signatures, enough to force a special HOA meeting, but I want more. Karen's got loyalists, like Dave the treasurer, and I need an overwhelming majority to shut them down. Meanwhile, Mike texts me a bombshell. Found the offshore account's beneficiary, he writes. It's Karen's cousin. All right, but there's more. She's been funneling HOA funds to pay off personal debts, credit cards, a car loan, even her mortgage. I stare at the message, my jaw tightening. This isn't just fraud. It's theft from every homeowner in Sunny Hills. I tell Mike to compile everything, bank statements, transaction logs, anything that'll hold up in court. Already on it. He replies, with a winking emoji that makes me wonder just how deep he's gone into Karen's digital life. Sarah's got her own update. She's been combing through city records and found a pattern. Karen's filed dozens of complaints against neighbors over the years, most of them baseless, but she's got a knack for bullying people into paying fines. She's got a friend in code enforcement, Sarah says over the phone. Some guy named Gary who rubber stamps her complaints. I'm digging into him next. I grin, because Sarah's like a bloodhound when she's got a scent. If there's dirt on Gary, she'll find it. Around 2 p.m., Lisa shows up at my place, looking like she's just pulled off a heist. You're gonna want to see this, she says, tossing a USB drive onto my table. I plug it in, and my screen lights up with footage from Karen's own Ring camera, her backyard camera, to be precise. It shows her sneaking into my yard at night, planting those damn petunias on my side of the fence. How the hell did you get this? I ask, torn between awe and suspicion. Lisa smirks, twirling a strand of hair. Let's just say her password was Karen Rolls 123. Amateur. I laugh, but inside I'm buzzing. This is gold. Proof she's been trespassing, lying, and setting me up. The footage is time-stamped from 3 months ago, when she first started whining about my fence. It's not just petunias. She's also been moving her garden gnomes closer to my property line, inch by inch, like some suburban Sun Tzu. She's been planning this for a while, Lisa says, her voice low. Probably wanted to claim your land as hers, or at least force you to tear down the fence. I shake my head, marveling at the audacity. Karen's not just a control freak. She's a schemer. But she's picked the wrong target. I'm about to call a crew meeting when my doorbell rings. It's Dave, the HOA treasurer, looking like he's auditioning for the role of sweaty accountant in a panic. He's holding a manila envelope, and his hands are shaking. Jake, he says, glancing over his shoulder like Karen might be hiding in my bushes, we need to talk. I invite him in, keeping my expression neutral. Dave's been Karen's lapdog for years, signing off on her fines and nodding along at meetings like a bobblehead. If he's here, something's up. He sits at my kitchen table, wiping his forehead with a handkerchief. I didn't know, he blurts out. About the money, I mean. Karen said it was for community projects, but I found these. He slides the envelope over, and inside are bank statements. HOA accounts with transfers to Karen's cousin's company, just like Mike found. She's been forging my signature, Dave says, his voice cracking. I could lose my job over this. I lean back, studying him. He's either a great actor or genuinely scared. Why come to me? I ask. Because you're the only one who stood up to her, he says. And I heard you're pushing for an audit. Word travels fast in Sunny Hills. I nod, keeping my cards close. Help me, Dave, I say. Testify at the meeting. Bring these statements. He hesitates, then nods, his jaw set. Okay, but she's not going to go down easy. I smirk. Neither do I. By evening, the petition's up to 25 signatures, and the neighborhood's buzzing. Mrs. Patel's bridge club has spread the word, and Carlos has rallied his buddies. Karen's starting to feel the heat, I can tell because her minivan's been gone all day, probably off scheming with her cousin or her code enforcement buddy Gary. But she's not invisible. Around 8 p.m., I get a text from Mrs. Chun. Karen's back. She's putting up signs in her yard. I step outside, and sure enough, there's a bright yellow sign staked in her lawn. No loud parties. Respect our community. It's so on the nose it's almost performance art. I snap a photo and send it to the crew, who respond with a barrage of laughing emojis and sarcastic comments. She's branding herself as the victim, Sarah texts. Classic narcissist move. Lisa's response is just a single word, pathetic. Mike, predictably, suggests photoshopping the sign to say Karen sucks and posting it online. Tempting, but I've got bigger plans. I text back, meeting tomorrow. Bring everything. The audit's our next step, but I'm also thinking about that restraining order hearing. Karen's playing dirty, but I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. As I head inside, I glance at her house. Her porch light's on, and I swear I see her silhouette in the window, watching me. It's creepy, but I'm not rattled. She's thrown everything at me. Cops, fines, a restraining order, and I'm still standing. More than that, I'm gaining ground. The neighborhood's waking up, my crew's locked and loaded, and Dave's defection is the crack in Karen's armor I've been waiting for. I pour myself a whiskey, sit at my kitchen table, and start drafting my speech for the HOA meeting. Karen's castle is crumbling, and I'm about to bring the wrecking ball. The day of the HOA meeting dawns like a scene from a bad western, hot, tense, and primed for a showdown. I'm up early, pacing my kitchen, running through my plan like it's a mission briefing. The petition's got 32 signatures, more than enough to force a vote on the audit, and my crew's ready to back me up. Sarah's got a dossier on Karen's code enforcement buddy Gary. Mike's compiled a damning report on her financial shenanigans, and Lisa's got a surprise she's keeping under wraps, but her cryptic texts, trust me, it's big, have me both excited and nervous. Dave's promised to show with his bank statements, and Mrs. Patel's bridge club is bringing half the neighborhood. Karen's about to face a reckoning, and I'm the one holding the gavel. The meeting's at 7 p.m. in the community center, a bland building that smells like stale coffee and bureaucracy. I arrive early with Sarah and Mike, carrying a box of documents and a USB drive with Lisa's Ring camera footage. The room's already filling up, Mrs. Patel and her crew, Carlos and his buddies, even a few fence-sitters who've heard the rumors about Karen's scams. The air's thick with anticipation, like we're all waiting for a storm to break. Karen's there too, perched at the front table with Dave and the other HOA board members, her notebook open and her lips pursed like she's sucking on a lemon. I catch her eye as I set up, and she glares back, her fingers tightening on her pen. She's dressed in a power blazer that screams, "I'm in charge," but there's a nervous twitch in her jaw. Good. She knows something's up. Dave, sitting next to her, looks like he's about to bolt, sweaty, fidgety, avoiding my gaze. I give him a nod, hoping he doesn't lose his nerve. The room quiets as Karen bangs her gavel, her voice sharp as she calls the meeting to order. "Let's keep this civil," she says, shooting me a pointed look. "Oh, Karen, civility's the least of your worries." The first half hour is standard HOA nonsense. Budget reviews, landscaping updates, a heated debate about mailbox uniformity. I'm biding my time, letting Karen think she's in control. Then, under new business, I stand. "I'd like to present a petition," I say, holding up the stack of signatures. 32 residents request an independent audit of the HOA's financials. The room erupts, gasps, whispers, a few cheers from Mrs. Patel's crew. Karen's face goes white, then red, like a traffic light having a seizure. "This is out of order," she snaps, banging her gavel so hard it nearly cracks. "We have a process for this." "Actually," I say, pulling out the HOA bylaws, Section 4.2 allows any resident to propose an audit with 20 signatures. We've got 32. I slide the petition to Dave, who looks like he's about to puke, but takes it. The crowd's buzzing now, and Karen's losing her grip. "This is a witch hunt," she cries, pointing at me. "Jake's been disrupting this community with his parties and his fence." "I can't help it," I laugh. My fence. Karen, let's talk about your petunias. Planted on my land. I hold up Tom's property map, and the room goes wild. That's when Sarah steps in, cool as ice. We've also got evidence of financial mismanagement, she says, passing out copies of Mike's report. It's a masterpiece. Bank statements, transaction logs, and a clear trail of HOA funds flowing to Karen's cousin's company. Over $20,000 in unaccounted beautification expenses, Sarah says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Unless Karen's backyard is a national park, I'd say that's a problem. The crowd's eating it up, and Karen's floundering. This is slander, she shrieks, but her voice cracks, and I see the first real crack in her armor. Dave finally stands, his hands shaking as he holds up his own documents. I didn't know, he says, his voice barely audible. Karen forged my signature on these transfers. I've got proof. He slides the bank statements across the table, and the room goes dead silent. Karen's eyes dart to him, pure panic now, and she lunges for the papers. You traitor, she hisses, but Dave pulls back, and the board's treasurer chair squeaks as he steps away from her. The crowd's on its feet now, shouting questions, demanding answers. Karen's losing control, and it's glorious. Then Lisa walks in, late as always, but with a swagger that says she's about to drop a bomb. Sorry I'm late, she says, plugging her USB drive into the projector. The screen lights up with Karen's Ring camera footage, her sneaking into my yard, planting petunias, moving gnomes, all time-stamped and clear as day. This is the HOA president, Lisa says, her voice sharp enough to cut steel. Trespassing, lying about property lines, and setting up Jake for her own agenda. The room explodes, cheers, gasps, even a "get her" from Mrs. Chun. Karen's frozen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. These are lies, she finally screams, slamming her notebook shut. You've fabricated this. I'm calling my lawyer. But the crowd's not buying it. Mrs. Patel stands, her voice booming. We've had enough, Karen. Step down, or we'll vote you out. Carlos and his buddies chime in, and soon half the room's chanting, audit, audit. Karen's shaking now, her blazer looking less like armor and more like a straitjacket. She grabs her notebook and bolts for the door, but not before I catch her eye and give her a little wave. Checkmate. The meeting ends in chaos, with the board agreeing to an audit and Karen storming out. But I know this isn't over. She's got that restraining order hearing in 2 days, and she's desperate enough to pull something dirty. As we clean up, Lisa pulls me aside. There's more, she whispers, handing me a printout. It's an email from Karen to her cousin, dated last week. If Jake pushes, we'll bury him. I've got Gary on speed dial. Gary, her code enforcement buddy. I grin, because Lisa's just handed me the final piece of the puzzle. Back home, I'm in my backyard, staring at the pool where this all started. The water's calm, reflecting the stars, but my mind's racing. Karen's on the ropes, but she's not out. That email proves she's been colluding to frame me, and with the hearing looming, I need to act fast. I text Sarah, get everything on Gary. We're ending this. Mike's already working on tracing the email's metadata, and Lisa's planning something she won't share yet. I pour myself a beer, the cold glass grounding me. Karen's thrown her best punches, but I've got a knockout coming. The next move's mine, and it's gonna hit hard. The morning of the restraining order hearing feels like the prelude to a cage match. I'm up at dawn, the sky a bruised purple, sipping coffee that tastes more like battery acid than beans. My kitchen table's a war room. Lisa's USB drive with the Ring camera footage, Mike's financial report, Sarah's dossier on Karen's code enforcement buddy Gary, and Dave's bank statements, all neatly stacked like ammunition. Karen's trying to pin me with a restraining order, claiming I threatened her over the property line dispute. It's a desperate move, and I'm ready to turn it against her. Today's not just about defending myself, it's about exposing her for good. I meet Sarah and Mike at the courthouse, a squat brick building downtown that smells like old paper and despair. Sarah's in a sharp blazer, looking like she's ready to argue a Supreme Court case, while Mike's got his laptop bag slung over his shoulder, probably itching to hack the courthouse Wi-Fi. Lisa's on her way, promising to bring her surprise from the HOA meeting. I'm in a suit, feeling like a gladiator in a tie, my FBI badge tucked in my pocket for moral support. We've got a plan. Present the evidence, discredit Karen's claims, and, if we're lucky, flip this hearing into a trap. The courtroom's small, with creaky wooden benches and a judge who looks like he's seen one too many neighborhood disputes. Karen's already there, sitting ramrod straight in a navy dress that screams, "I'm the victim." Her lawyer, a slick guy with too much hair gel, is whispering in her ear, and I catch her shooting me a smug glance. She thinks she's got this in the bag, probably because her buddy Gary's sitting in the back, looking like a discount mob enforcer in a polo shirt. I nod at Sarah, who's already clocked him. "That's our guy," she murmurs. Shady as hell. The hearing starts, and Karen's lawyer lays out her case. I intimidated her by showing up at her door with the property map, harassed her with my pool party, and created a hostile environment in the neighborhood. It's a masterclass in exaggeration, and Karen plays along, dabbing her eyes with a tissue like she's auditioning for a soap opera. I'm half tempted to clap for the performance, but I keep my face neutral. My lawyer, a friend from the FBI's legal division named Rachel, stands and calmly dismantles her story. "Your Honor," she says, "my client was addressing a documented property line issue. Ms. Karen's accusations are baseless and retaliatory." Then it's my turn. I take the stand, property map in hand, and walk the judge through Tom's survey. "Ms. Karen's been planting on my land for months," I say, keeping my tone even but letting a hint of sarcasm slip through. "If anyone's creating a hostile environment, it's the person sneaking into my yard at night." I hand over Lisa's Ring camera footage, which Rachel plays on a laptop. The grainy video of Karen skulking around with her petunias draws gasps from the gallery. Mrs. Patel and Carlos are there, along with half a dozen neighbors from the HOA meeting. Karen's face goes the color of her beige curtains. Her lawyer objects, calling the footage inadmissible, but Rachel's ready. "It's from Ms. Karen's own security system, Your Honor. She provided the evidence herself." The judge, looking mildly amused, allows it. I step down, feeling the momentum shift. Sarah's up next, presenting her dossier on Gary. "This is Gary Thompson, a code enforcement officer with a history of expediting Ms. Karen's complaints," she says, handing over records of his suspiciously frequent visits to Sunny Hills. "We believe he's colluded with Ms. Karen to harass my client and other residents." Gary squirms in his seat, and Karen's lawyer looks like he's regretting taking this case. Then Lisa walks in, and the room tenses. She's got a folder under her arm and that dangerous glint in her eye. "Your Honor," she says, striding to the front, "I have additional evidence of Ms. Karen's misconduct." She hands over the email from Karen to her cousin, the one about burying me, and a new bombshell, a recording of Karen leaving a voicemail for Gary, demanding he find violations on my property or she'd make things difficult for him. The judge's eyebrows shoot up, and the gallery erupts in murmurs. Karen's lawyer objects again, but the judge waves him off. "I'm listening," he says, leaning forward. Lisa's voice is pure ice as she explains. "Ms. Karen's been using her HOA position to extort residents, funnel funds to her cousin, and collude with city officials to silence opposition. This restraining order is just her latest attempt to intimidate Mr. Jake." She plays the voicemail, and Karen's shrill voice fills the room, whining about my disrespectful pool party and demanding Gary do his job. The gallery's buzzing now, and Karen's practically shrinking in her seat. Her lawyer's sweating through his suit, and Gary looks like he's planning his escape to Mexico. The judge calls a recess to review the evidence, and I step outside with my crew, feeling like we just landed a punch. "Nice work," I tell Lisa, who shrugs like it's just another day. "Told you it was big," she says, smirking. Mike's already texting, probably spreading the word to our FBI buddies, while Sarah's plotting our next move. "Gary's toast," she says. "I've got a contact at the city who can push for an investigation." I nod, but my eyes are on Karen, who's huddled with her lawyer in the hallway, looking like a cornered animal. When the hearing resumes, the judge doesn't mince words. "Miss Karen," he says, his voice like gravel, "your claims lack credibility, and this evidence suggests a pattern of harassment and potential fraud. I'm denying the restraining order and referring this matter to the district attorney for further review. The gallery cheers, and Karen bolts from the room, her lawyer trailing behind like a scolded puppy. Gary's nowhere to be seen, probably halfway to his car by now. Rachel gives me a nod, and I feel a weight lift. Round one, us. But I know Karen's not done. She's too stubborn, too entitled, to go quietly. As we leave the courthouse, I spot her minivan speeding away, and I can't shake the feeling she's plotting her next move. Back home, I find a new HOA notice taped to my door, a $1,000 fine for defamation at the meeting. It's laughable, but it's proof she's still fighting. I text the crew. She's doubling down. Time to finish this. Mike replies with a gif of a shark, Sarah sends a thumbs up, and Lisa just texts, "Oh, it's on." I pour myself a whiskey, staring at the pool under the evening sky. Karen's on her last legs, but she's still dangerous. Tomorrow, we bring the hammer down. As we're wrapping up, Karen makes her final mistake. Her minivan screeches to a stop in front of my house, and she storms into my backyard, waving her notebook like a mad prophet. "This is illegal," she shrieks, her face a mask of rage. "You're conspiring against me." The crowd parts, and I step forward, cool as ice. "Karen," I say, my voice dripping with sarcasm, "you're trespassing again. And that drone? Pretty sure that's invasion of privacy." Her eyes dart to the sky, where Mike's now flying her drone in circles, taunting her. The crowd laughs, and Karen's facade cracks completely. She throws her notebook to the ground and screams, "You'll all regret this." That's when Officer Daniels shows up, tipped off by Mrs. Chun. He's got a warrant, courtesy of Sarah's city contact, to seize Karen's laptop and phone for the DA's investigation. Karen's practically frothing as they escort her to her house, her curses echoing down the street. The crowd cheers, and I raise a beer bottle and a toast. To Sunny Hills, I say, and to neighbors who fight back. The party restarts, music blaring, and the pool's alive with splashing again. By midnight, Karen's minivan is gone, and word spreads she's staying with her cousin. The DA's office confirms they're building a case: fraud, forgery, maybe even extortion. Gary's under investigation too, suspended pending a full review. The HOA election votes Karen out unanimously, and Mrs. Patel's interim president, until we sort out the mess. My backyard's quiet again, the pool reflecting the moon like a victory mirror. I sit by the water, sipping whiskey, my crew sprawled around me. "Well," Lisa says, grinning, "that was fun." Mike laughs, Sarah raises her glass, and I just shake my head. Karen thought she could take us down, but she forgot one thing: never mess with a yard full of feds. Thank you for being with us. Please share in the comments where you are watching from and whether you liked everything, and see you next time.